Hello, this is a walkthrough video of the learning application KnoBitz. It's going to be a longer video. If you want a very brief overview, then take the product tour or read the short description in the help documentation. Here we will look at all the main views and the major functionality. Won't go into every single detail. Okay, so when you log in, once you complete the product tour for the first time, you get this map view. This map contains everything that is learned from grade 1 to grade 12 in Estonia according to the national curriculum. The map is zoomable, so you can zoom in right here on the map by scrolling your wheel mouse or just zooming with your fingers onto the different topics. Or you can use the panel in the lower left-hand corner. There's zoom buttons here as well. If you get lost somewhere in the depth of the map and you want to return to the main view, then simply click the round globe-looking icon. It will return you to the main view. The logic of the map is that each subject domain is built up as a network of nodes. Nodes are on 5 different levels. So the largest ones are level 1 nodes, and then you go to level 2, 3, 4. All of the level 4 nodes have a plus sign on them, means you can open them up. So if you click on the plus sign, it will open up and reveal the level 5 nodes. Whenever you click on the black area of the map, you get the attention or the focus restored to everything. If you click on a single node, then the focus goes on to that particular node. An important aspect is the filtering ability. So this is the filter button. If you click it, it'll open up filters. And the filters are by grade, so you can look at everything that is learned or studied in 2nd grade or 5th grade. You can change the colors of the filters by clicking on the colored circle here. And an interesting feature is the My Knowledge map, or sorry, filter. So if you switch on My Knowledge, what this does is it will show you what you have learned in the KnoBitz environment. So for example, if you have 5th grade displayed here in the filter, it's an additive filter, the My Knowledge. So if you switch from 2nd grade to 5th grade, they're alternative filters. But if you have 5th grade selected and you additionally select My Knowledge, then some additional things will appear that you have learned that are not part of 5th grade curriculum. However, if you look at geometry, for example, let me zoom in a little bit more, then geometry is in the 5th grade curriculum, but if you switch on My Knowledge, it gets a halo around it, means that you have done studying of geometry in KnoBitz yourself as well. So your knowledge includes knowledge of geometry. So you can look at how much of either the whole map or some filtered subsection of the map your knowledge covers. So that's filtering. When you want to return to the main view, just click on the globe-looking icon. In the upper right-hand corner, there's the KnoBitz logo. So whichever view you're in, somewhere in the application, by clicking the logo, you always get back to the map. If you have already started learning about something, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but then you get this additional panel here, which can be hidden, but it asks you to continue the latest topic that you were studying. And then in the upper right-hand corner, you have the search box. So if you start entering something into the search box, it will light it up here on the map. Everything else will go dark. But also, if let me bring up another example. See if we can match to something which is a specific level. So oh, Tahiro, sorry. So if you enter something which is matched to an exact node name, then it will appear here below the search box, and you can click it, and it will then find it in the map and highlight it for you. Next to the search box is a menu. We'll talk about the menu a little bit later. And in most views of the application, in the lower right-hand corner, so over here, is Anne. And Anne is our friendly little chinchilla learning mentor friend. So what Anne is aware of is, first of all, the whole application. So you can ask your support questions if you don't know how to do something in the application. You can ask Anne. Anne will tell you how to do it. For example, how do I set myself a learning goal? But Anne also knows about all the latest knowledge and research in learning science. So if you want to learn more efficiently, or if you wonder about how to word your goals correctly, or what could be a good order of learning different topics, then you can ask Anne, and will receive advice on that aspect as well. So you can talk to Anne at any time. Right, so how do you actually learn? This is the map. You can browse around, you can look at all the different knowledge. If you click on any node anywhere, then a sidebar will open up, and it will tell you briefly what this node is about. Now, what's in the sidebar depends on the level of node you click on. If you click on L1, or the largest node, all it will tell you is the overview and your knowledge percentage of this topic. If you click on level 2 node, then you already get a learn this button. And if you press on learn this, it will create a learning path for you. But because solid geometry is a very large topic, you'll get a very long learning path. So if you know actually that you want to learn about something more specific, I advise you, instead of clicking on learn this here, to click on it downstream on a lower level node. So for example, solid geometry opens up into solids and their measures, and lines and planes in space. So let's take solids and their measures. Click on this node. Now we get a learn this button. And if we clicked on it, we would get a shorter learning path because it's a more specific topic. But also, you can set it as a goal. So if you click on set as a goal, this will be set as your learning goal, and we will see where the goals are visible and measured a little bit later on. And you can go through this entire tree like this. So finally, if you arrive at level 5, and the map is quite mobile. I'll show you that later on, how to tune it down if you want. If you click on level 5 node, now you have a number of buttons here already. So you can say that you know this, because obviously you know things that you haven't learned in KnoBitz. So instead of doing the learning or testing, you can just say, I know this. If you do click on I know this, it will pop up a warning saying you can't unknow this. So if you're sure that you know this, mark it as known, but once you mark it as known, you can't unmark it anymore. You can't unknow things. Next button is test me. If you click on test me, cross sections with a plane, let's see, I'll click on test me. It will always ask you 4 questions. There are different kinds of questions, from factual through to analytical. If you answer the first one correctly, the second one or the next one will be a little bit more complex to see what the level of your knowledge is. And it will then, at the end of the fourth question, tell you what your estimated knowledge percentage of this topic is. Let's go into the first question, so we'll see what this is about. So I'll say start test. So now we get question number 1. You can see Q1, 2, 3, 4 here. So question number 1 is factual. What is the term for the two-dimensional shape formed when a plane intersects a solid of revolution? Projection, net, cross-section, or silhouette? And we will answer that it is a cross-section. And we get correct, a little bit of explanation why this was correct, and now question 2 is generated, and thus it continues. If we quit, then the same test cannot be resumed later. A new test obviously can be taken anytime, but the same test won't be able to continue. So there's a small modal warning about this. So that's what happens when you click on the test me button. And then your knowledge percentage will be whatever you come out, whatever comes out of the test result. Now, set as a goal we talked about, and obviously the most central button of everything is learn this. So if it's a new topic, you can click on learn this, and we'll see what happens. Or if you've already started learning something, there's this additional panel that opens up here on the left-hand side bottom, which prompts you to continue learning whatever was the most recent thing where you already obtained some knowledge. But then for new things, you simply click on learn this. So it says creating your learning path. And what you get is a learning path that contains KnoBitz. Now, the word KnoBit is something we invented. It's a knowledge bit. And each of these is a KnoBit. So this specific learning path is made up of 9 KnoBits. It can be 3, 4, it can be 12, 11. So it differs from topic to topic. And to start obtaining a KnoBit, you either click on the title here or start learning here. So let's look into it now. We're in learning mode. This is, in addition to the map mode, this is the second most important mode in the whole application. Start learning. Learning always consists of 4 phases. So there's the explain phase, the demo phase, the practice phase, and the meaning phase. Up here in the right-hand corner, you can see a few things. So first of all, there's a timer. It starts counting down from 20 minutes, which is the suggested focused time. You can change it in settings. We'll see about that later. The second thing that happens, or sorry, the second thing that can happen here is you can now hear some background noise. I'll switch it back off. This is sort of cafe white noise, which different studies have shown that this is the best for concentration and learning, better than music, better than silence. So that's why this is here. And in order to improve focus further, you can switch on to full screen mode, so other notifications and tabs and applications won't disturb you during this focused learning session. I can actually leave that on as well. So in the center here, you will see that a first of 5 bytes of explanation has appeared. Whenever the byte is something that can be visualized as well, the system will visualize it for you, and it explains about how a revolution of a 2D shape in 3 dimensions will create a volume of a solid. Now, below each of these are 4 buttons. I understand, I don't understand, too simplistic, too complex. So if you understand, you read through, you look at it, you understand, you just click I understand. And you then get the second byte as 2 of 5. Now, if it happens to be either that you don't understand or it's too complex, then you have these buttons. So I don't understand or too complex. The difference is that if you click on I don't understand, the system will attempt to um, teach you this byte in a different way. So it will look at all of the bytes are generated for the learner. So nothing here is recorded in a database somewhere. So the KnoBitz always looks at who you are, what you've learned before, what your interests are, everything that it knows, and we'll look at how it knows a little bit later. Everything that it knows about you, and it will then um, uh, generate this byte, learning byte for you. And but if you then say that it's too complex, sorry, you say I don't understand, it will attempt to explain the same thing for you in simpler words, shorter sentences, but it'll be essentially the same explanation that it gave to you before. So you can say I understand. However, if you uh, think it's too simplistic and you'd appreciate a more in-depth explanation of something, you can say too simplistic, and then the system will or KnoBitz will explain things in a more complex way for you. Use more complex vocabulary, for example, use longer sentences, so it knows that it can give you more complex explanations. And we're still in step 3 of 5. So if you click on any of these, it won't advance another step. It will simply be the same step explained differently, either than in more simple or more complex terms. Let's click on I understand. Obviously, I'm going through this faster than I would normally because I'm not right now reading the texts. And I will click on I understand once more, just to demonstrate the other learning phases as well. So this was now 5 of 5. I will say again, I understand. And now I get an example. Um, so we've moved on. You can see the bar has progressed. We're moved on from explain to demo. We get our first example. We can read through this. View next example. No choice there. Have to look at least 2 different examples. We get example 2. And now we have another choice. We can look at more examples. So we can say, give me more. Or we can say, I understand, no more examples. So let's go with this one for right now. We can see we moved on to practice phase. Practice phase means you get a problem, something you need to respond to solve. Here you can see that the problem is about propeller blade profiles. So because KnoBitz knows that I build radio controlled aircraft as a hobby, then it will try to bring problems or examples using what it knows about what interests me. I will answer something, submit answer, and the system will then tell whether I got it right or got it wrong. But regardless of whether I got it right or wrong, I can still proceed. And I can do more problems, or I can say, no, I'm done. And during the entire learning phase, all of these, you can see that there's a text box down below. You can always ask about or talk to KnoBitz about terms maybe that have appeared or something you want to ask. The problem wasn't clearly worded for some reason. So you can always ask and talk, and it will be responded to here within the thread. But if you say I'm done, then we move on to the final phase, which is answering the question, why did I learn this? Why is this important? Where do we need this? So here it brings an example because again it's customized for me. It it talks about engineers designing axles, pipes, turbine blades, etc. And again, you can ask you know any other areas of life that use this, and KnoBitz will tell you about where else this can be used, and you can always say whether you understand or not. And once you say that you understand, it will offer you to download everything that has been generated within this KnoBit. It'll be like learning notes. Um, Otherwise, if you say continue, then it's wiped. We don't keep this in our database. As I said, it is generated personally for each and every learner. But if you want to keep a record of this, this is the only moment you have this chance. You can click on download, you get a file, and you have everything that was generated during the learning of this KnoBit, including the discussions that you had with KnoBitz or with Anna here. But if you say continue, then you get back to your learning path. The first step is now completed. You get to go on to the second step, and that's how you proceed throughout the learning path. Okay, so that's the learning view. I'm clicking on KnoBitz icon to get back to the map. And I got to the learning path by choosing a node, any node in the map, and clicking on learn this. That's when the learning path was generated. Okay, so the one final thing that we haven't covered yet is the menu. So if we open up the menu, we can see notifications. You get notifications about different things that you have done in the system. So I completed an KnoBit. It says KnoBit complete. I've done some other learning here in Estonian, so the notifications will also be in Estonian. The system will also remind you to continue with things that you have already started with but haven't completed. So all of these will arrive in your notifications. You can get back to the map. I'll skip over Learner Passport for now. If you're a teacher, you can see information about your student accounts that are connected. If you're a parent, you can see information about your children's accounts that are connected. In settings, you can change quite a few things. For example, the 20 minutes, it doesn't have to be 20-minute focused session. It can be 15-minute focused session if you want. I also talked about, obviously, some color changes. I also talked about the fact that the map was quite mobile before. I had to chase some of the nodes around. So if it's too lively for you, you can make it either moderate or static. So you can reduce the mobility of the map. Here are the custom filters. We already looked at them. There's a few more options here. You can click on them, see what happens in the map. And obviously the help and logout options. So now let's go to the Learner Passport, which I skipped over before. I'm clicking on Learner Passport. And this is the brains of the customization. So here we record, and you can add your own personal input on everything about you as a learner. So you can see learner profile, learning needs, preferences, some core interests, some values. You can edit or add, remove all of these here. I strongly suggest you do because the learning steps, the content is customized to the things that are written here about you as a learner. Learning events records everything you do, whether you take tests, whether you do complete KnoBitz, you can filter them here. You can see assessment. I took a test here, knowledge test, National Awakening, got 75% as a score. So all of this is recorded here. And if you complete a whole node, all of the learning path, the 9 steps that we looked at before, for example, then KnoBitz asks you for a reflection about, what is the meaning for you for what you have just learned, and how did it go? And the reflections are also then recorded here. You can enter learning relationships about people, study groups, or institutions where you have learned before or are learning currently. Different credentials, the system credentials, KnoBitz platform credentials appear here, but you can also insert awards, qualifications, and certifications from other places. You can click add, and then it'll allow you to add them. And again, it will look at these when it generates things for you. Here's your competence state. So these are all the things that you either have marked, self-reported as known, or you have taken tests. You've learned them or tested the knowledge here in KnoBitz. So this is the competence state right here. Remember before when we were in the map view, there was a button which said set as a goal in the sidebar. So if you set something as a goal, it will appear here. And it will then track your progress and estimate the time that you have left, learning time that you have left to complete this goal. Obviously, you can mark it as complete manually as well if you've done the learning outside of KnoBitz or completion of the goal. So here's your goals, and you can't sort of manually set the goals here. It has to happen through the map. And finally, here's the game. So there's a little bit of gamification built in. You by going through the learning paths, you collect things called lumens, and you move from one rank to another. So you can see the stage that you're at over here, and there's some achievements that can be then unlocked by collecting more lumens or performing some specific tasks that unlock these achievements. All of this learner profile can be exported in an EU recognized format. So other learning institutions, schools, universities, employers can take this information and you can show what you have learned. So you can look, they can see the completed knowledge, the learning events, the tests you've taken, the reflections. You can select a little bit on upon export what you want exported, but you can show this to others in a verifiable format. So it doesn't have to stay within KnoBitz only. So clicking back on the KnoBitz logo to get back to the map, and this was a walkthrough of this learning application. Hope you enjoy your learning.